But right now, what I want to do is get out of the way and give you the opportunity to be blessed by our speaker today, Tara Alderete. So go ahead and give her some love. Thank you.
All right. Good morning. Oh, it is so good to see you on this beautiful Dallas day. All right, so my name is Tara Alderete. I'm with an organization called Money Management International, and we'll talk about who we are and what we do in just a second. But our topic today is mastering your mindset and relationship with money. And hey, yo, everybody online, it's nice to see you. And so we are going to talk about financial wellness, and we're going to talk about things to do to increase your financial wellness, but we're going to focus on the psychology of money. So there's a couple of different things for this workshop today. I'm looking for big interaction, okay? So we're gonna do a little bit of an icebreaker because we're gonna have some group discussion. Most of this class is gonna be group discussion. Yes?
Let them know that if they're watching, that there's links to the handouts underneath the video. And if they want to participate, do a live chat and I'll speak to them.
Okay, so those of you online, yes. So those of you online, there are links to all the different handouts that we talk about. And if you want to jump in, not if you want to jump in, when you want to jump in, just go ahead and type your comments in the chat, and Clifton will be back here transcribing them and jumping you into the room. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing. We're going to have big group discussion. But the other thing is everybody has a phone. All right, and those of you online, if you want to use your cell phone or you just want to click, there are a lot of QR codes in the presentation, so we're going to do a lot of activity as well. So just make sure your phone is ready. Everybody is able to scan a QR code. If you're not sure how to do that, it's pretty simple. Most smartphones have this feature, but you just hover your camera over the QR code and the little link will pop up, and then you click it and it'll take you where you need to go. Those of you that are sitting a little further back, you might need to zoom in on your phone, but it'll be very easy. If you have trouble, just let us know. All right, so before we start, I wanted to do a quick little icebreaker for those of us in the room and those of you online as well. And this is intended to be really fast, but because we're talking about the psychology of money, I want to do a little word association game, right? So, and because we're going to have big discussion, I want us to know who we are. So I would like you to just tell us your first name and the one word that comes to your mind when I say money, okay? So I'll start. My name is Tara, and freedom is what I got for you. Hey, yo. Well, we can have the same word. Okay, you're next, sir.
Al and freedom.
Okay. What?
This is the speaking statement, right?
Al McClaney, and my one word is freedom.
Okay, we're starting a freedom train.
I'm Phyllis. I'm gonna say excitement.
Okay.
My name is Juanita, and I'm going to do two words: generational wealth.
Ah.
My name is Charlene, and I'm not as happy about money as y'all. I think of lawsuit.
Okay. Hey, valid.
My name is Eric Butler, and my word would be whole.
Ah, I love it.
Hi, my name is Elvira, and my word is vacations.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Sakina, and mine is legacy.
My name is Audrey. My word is options.
Ah.
My name is Maria. This word needs to change, but the first word that came in my mind was hard.
Okay.
My name is Twala, and my word was freedom as well.
And I'm going to share with people online.
Excellent. What do we got online?
So David Smith says sacrifice. Another person says money brings. Oh wow, I gotta scoot something up or down. I can't read this right now, but I'll read it later. My word is manifestation.
Oh, I love it.
Growth.
Edward, growth.
The word
Freedom.
Freedom. All right.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you for playing along and sort of introducing yourself and thinking of your one word. And the reason that I love to do that is because when we think about money, I think somebody in here said hard, right? And if you have ever been in a place where you feel like this, you are not alone. It is a topic that we never.
The audio went out online for a second. Can you guys hear me now on the mic? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah.
If you have debt, when you do that initial session,
Your mic's not working, so you got to use this.
okay. When you do that initial session, they will help you talk about, okay, here's the debt that you have. Here's how we might be able to eliminate that in about 5 years on a debt management plan. And then we also do student loan counseling, bankruptcy counseling and education, housing education. So all that different stuff. So as we're talking about this, if you're thinking, hey, I'd like to talk to somebody one-on-one about my own situation and how I can change stuff, give us a call or go online. That's exactly how you can do it. Okay. So moneymanagement.org, but I'll give you all this more later as well. Okay, so today we're talking all about mastering your mindset. And so there's 3 parts in this workshop, right? The first part is mindset and relationship with money. And we're going to talk about exploring the psychology of money, understanding your beliefs, why you feel the way that you do, and then shifting your money mindset. And then we're also going to talk about financial literacy basics and taking action and building momentum. But we're going to build these things, these financial literacy basics like saving, budgeting, credit. We're going to build them into a mastering your mindset framework, if that makes sense. Okay? So the first thing I'd like to do is, as a group, because now we all know each other, we have a little bit of a connection. I would like to take just about a minute or so and talk about what is true financial freedom? So if you had to come up with a definition for true financial freedom, what would that be? So we'll take about a minute or two and we'll talk about it, talk about it together, and let's see what we think. And don't everybody start talking at once. And those of you online, go ahead and send your comments in, send your thoughts in, and let's see if we can come up with something as a group. Yeah.
Do you want us to?
I want you to have a discussion. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's having confidence in knowing where your money's going and what you have every month, and just going to
So confidence in knowing where your money's going, go on vacation. Yeah, yeah.
I think about Dave Ramsey,
Ah,
7 steps to financial freedom, which is reaching that last step, which is having all your having all your debts paid, you're already invested in your child's funds for college, so you're at the stage
where you can do what you want. So for those of you online, we're hearing people say, I think about true financial freedom as being able to do what I want to do, the comfort to do what I want to do. We're also hearing somebody say, I think of Dave Ramsey and getting to that last step where I have no debt.
Time freedom is financial free to me. So you can say that. So
Oh, okay. So we're seeing time freedom is financial freedom to me.
my money was enough money to cover all my needs.
I just have enough money to do what I want to do, cover my needs.
Financially enough to not have to worry about the bills being paid.
Not have to worry. Eliminate that worry and concern. Okay, so we'll take about another just 30 seconds. So we heard somebody say financial freedom is I got me and I got you. So what I'd like you to do is, a lot of these things when we talk about financial freedom, when we talk about goals, all those different things, a lot of those things start to come to fruition when we take the action of writing them down. So you have a pad, you have a pen, go ahead and write down what true financial freedom means to you. There is something psychologically about the act of writing down something on a piece of paper. It's an art that we're losing, but it's a big deal. So I'm reading this book called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Herschel. And one of the things that he says, and many of us were onto it, almost all of us were onto it. So he says that true financial freedom is not necessarily about amassing all this wealth, right? Like, I win, but it's more about being able to live within your means and do what you want to do, right? And so when we think about that, true financial freedom is not the same for me as it is for Al, as it is for Clifton, as it is for anybody else, right? Oh, good. Because I needed a third hand. All right. So, we kind of take this into our thought process today. So let's talk about the psychology of money. And I made some notes for myself, which is what I'm doing up here. So when we think about the psychology of money, I found some great information online from our friends. Actually, they do something similar to what we do at Money Management International, but they're in Alberta, Canada. And so I have the website up here on the next slide. But they were able to simplify this mastering your money mindset into 5 easy steps. And it's all the things that we know, right? It's the things that the books tell us, but it was very easy. And so I thought, you know what, let's use this framework. But when we think of the psychology of money, money mindset is what you can and can't do with money, how much money you think you deserve, right? And this comes from all different places. How you believe you should manage your money, how you believe you should manage your debt, your overall ability to grow wealth, and your overall financial outlook. So the next thing I'd like to do is help us figure out what our money personality is. So everybody grab your phone. We're going to take about 3 minutes to complete this online assessment. It's like, I don't know, maybe 15 very quick questions. But I actually found this from out of New Zealand. It was the best one that I found because it was easy, it was fast, and it was great. So what you're going to do is you're going to, hey, welcome. Didn't mean to like put you on stage there, but I love that you're here. So what I'd like you to do is scan this QR code. It's going to take you to this money personality quiz. Okay, so we'll take about 2 or 3 minutes to complete the quiz. This is great because once you complete it, not only is it going to tell you what your money personality is, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but it's also going to give you tips and tools for relating to others, for managing different aspects of your life. So let's take a few minutes and do that. I'll make sure everybody's on. Do you need a phone? You want to use my phone? Okay. Okay. Do you have a phone? Give just copies of that. And I'm Tara, by the way. you would have gotten one of 5 different money personalities: the contemporary, the enterpriser, the minimalist, the realist, the socialite. Who in here did anybody get the contemporary? Do you want to tell us what it was?
So it's you're generous with your money, even if it's a bit of a stretch. When the heart wants what it wants, it usually gets it. And it talks about just being here in the now, and money can deal with it in the future. So
My free spirit.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Was anybody the enterpriser? Woo woo. I know you were. Okay, tell us about it.
Okay. The enterpriser, I'm crystal clear about my financial future. Hold on, let me go back to this here. Okay. You're in the know with your money and know how to use it. You're calculated with your spending, always planning for the long term.
Excellent. Anybody a minimalist? No minimalists. All right, so the minimalist is on the sure path to saving. They're smart with their money. Some say that they're cautious, but really they're just thinking long term and ready to wait out any financial storm. Okay? Anybody the realist? Tell us more.
Tell you more.
The
Like,
description.
Oh, okay. It's like, not about me. Oh no. Money is in the eye of the beholder. You've always got an eye on your finances. You play it safe, even though you know more could be done with it.
Okay. And then anybody a socialite? Party people, where are my party people? Nobody a socialite. I think I was probably a socialite. Okay. A pioneer in all things fun. I was definitely a socialite. So you enjoy the finer things in life and love to share that with those around you. There's no good or bad. And I wanted, so when we were doing this exercise, if you don't mind sharing, Al made a great point. And so we were talking about his money personality. So would you share it with us?
Yeah, what I was saying is that it's interesting that I came up as an enterpriser because about 10 years ago, no way that I was an enterpriser. I was lost, in debt, etc. The other thing I noticed when I flipped the card over for an enterpriser is got high-end saver. That's a learned behavior for me because I'm a natural spender, and I've had to put things in place to where I don't spend the money, which is like automatic deductions out of my bank. Otherwise, because if I get my hand on, I'm a natural spender, and my wife's a natural spender. That's not good for both of us, but we've learned to be savers.
Yes. And that's such a great point. And thank you for sharing it, because I think that we do change, right? We change. That's the goal. We change, we evolve. So I'm going to be 100% transparent all day long. I'm a socialite. But I've had to rein it in and say, no, I'm a mama, and I want to be a responsible adult. And, you know, so then I have changed that money personality as well. So that's an excellent point. Yes.
So too, like he was saying, I see, because I like some of the socialite. I like the luxury things too, the finer things in life. But I'm not going to buy something and I have a bill. I'm just going to pay the bill, but I still like that, you know. So I think there's certain bits or pieces from each one that we may be.
Yes. And then it becomes, okay, how do I live my socialite nature and do it on my budget? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's, I'm going to put the microphone back here in case we need it. If anybody online wants to send in their, what they learned or anything that they learned about their money personality, we would welcome it. All right. So let's talk about shifting your mindset. There's this idea of scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset, right? And so this really is, and I'm going to challenge you today to take away some habits, and these might be difficult because it's going to go against the grain, maybe, of all the things that we've ever said to ourselves about managing money. And what I'd like you to do is not only start to shift that mindset today, but when you find yourself thinking something in a financial situation that isn't necessarily positive, and we'll talk about that, I want you to remember this session today. I want you to remember the friends that we've made, the discussions that we've had. You know, I love the story about changing things. I was not a natural saver, but now I am. You know, things like that, so that you can take it with you. This is a big deal, and it is definitely a learned behavior. We don't change our mindset in 20 minutes of a conversation, but we start. All right, so when we think about scarcity versus abundance, the scarcity mindset would be if you find yourself living paycheck to paycheck. If you're overwhelmed by finances and money, if you're maybe a bit envious of what others have and how they manage their money, right? How come I can't do that? If you're upset with your financial situation, if you feel like you don't have enough, and you're focused only on short-term goals, this is a big one, because I think a lot of times people are like, you know what, I can't even right now with saving for retirement, but I need to make myself feel better about something. I'm going down to Macy's and I'm getting some shoes, right? I mean, that's something that a lot of us do. I've done this before as well. So when you start to think like that, you're staying in sort of a scarcity mindset. And so you take the opposite of all those things and you start to translate to an abundance mindset. But this is work. This is forcing yourself to say, wait a second, I don't care so much about these shoes at Macy's. This is a short-term goal. What is my long-term goal? And you start to flip that mindset. So we shift our mindset according to our friends. Like I said, this great list that I found out of Calgary or out of Alberta was shifting your mindset in 5 easy steps, right? And so it's reflecting on your financial perspective, adopting a positive money mindset, shifting your mindset to save if we're not on a default setting for savings, tracking and managing your spending, and then adopting positive money habits. So let's talk about reflecting on your financial perspective. We're going to have more discussion, so get ready because we're going to have discussion right now. So reflecting is really just thinking about, talking about, being honest about your experiences and everything that played a part in how you think about money. And this is, and then here's the challenge. Talking about this and thinking about this without placing blame. Because I think a lot of times we have the tendency to do that. You know what I mean? If my mom would have only blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But you know, how many of you in here have children? You know that we just do the best thing that we can do and we try to be better than what came before us. You know what I mean? So we want to do this without placing blame. It is what it is. So think about this. Let's talk about this. What was your financial situation growing up? Were you rich? Were you poor? Did you have no idea? Did you think you were poor, but maybe you weren't? You know, things like that. Did you hear your parents arguing about money? Did you hear anybody arguing about? Did you hear anybody talking about money? What did you learn about money from the adults in your life? Whether it's teachers, neighbors, friends, family members, and whether these are things that people taught you, actively taught you, or just things that you saw. What money messages did you receive? Good, bad, indifferent, direct, or indirect? How did your parents or family relate to money? And how did you approach your relationship with money as an adult? When you started out and you said, okay, I have to figure this out now. How did you do that? So let's take about 2 or 3 minutes and have some discussion around these questions. And the other thing that I will say to you is not only thinking just about these things in particular, but considering that our reflection on our financial perspective is also generational. So it's also a direct reflection of the time in which we grew up, right? Those of us, we will never speak of this again, but I was born in the 70s, right? And so we grew up differently than my grandmother who was born in the 20s. We have a very different financial outlook because she lived through the Depression, right? And so when we have a conversation, it is vastly different. So it's not just things that our parents did or didn't do, but it's also where and when and, you know, how we grew up, things that we had no control over. So let's have some discussion. We'll take about 2-3 minutes. And those of you online, please send in your comments. We will add them into the group discussion. hate to interrupt you, but you know I'm gonna interrupt you. So does anybody want to share? I heard some good stuff. Oh, I'm gonna steal what I heard you say because I loved it, and I'm not sure exactly what the whole point is, but I think I got the point. But what Jason was sharing is that he thought he was about 5, and somebody asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up, and he said, "I want to be a dentist." And there was friends, neighbors, whomever on the front porch, and they all kind of opened their mouth. And what are you doing? And I think you said it was your grandfather.
Yeah, my great grandfather asked us all as children what we wanted to be. I mean, they would ask us that. I said my great grandfather would ask periodically. He'd ask all the great grandchildren or whatever case, "What do you want to be?" They were sparking this conversation of your own education and all stuff.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I said I wanted to be a dentist. And a couple of people, some of the adults and some other people, they think, "Oh, that's great." Some people, sang. So I want to be a singer. She said, "Sing something," or whatever the case. So when people didn't really respond to me saying that I wanted to be a dentist, then he got upset. And so after a while, he had everybody with their mouths hung open like this. And I'm walking around the whole room, not knowing what I'm looking. I'm not just looking down people's throats, like what he said. And so he said, "Y'all heard what he said, right? He said he wanted to be a dentist, and you're going to need your teeth fixed one day. You're going to need him. So we're going to support this now.
Yes.
This is an investment. You're going to invest your time in what we're doing right now." And so my perspective on investment is clearly different from what most people think. When you think about investments, people think Fidelity, Prudential, all these. My perspective on investment is putting my resources into me so I can do now what I want to do in the future.
Yes, I love it. And think about support, right? And the confidence that inspired in your 5-year-old self is incredible, right? So yes, Clifton, what are we hearing online?
I'm going to share 2 online, and then we can go back to the group.
Yes.
So Barbara Newton says, growing up, I was aware that I was not rich, and Mom worked hard to provide, but she always made sure we had the best. And then David Smith said, my parents discussed money and financial issues as a family, but he was really too young to grasp it. And looking back at it, he wished, it was good. It was a good experience, and wished that he was a little bit older when we had those talks.
Yes. Does anybody else want to share? Okay. Can I have the microphone? Thank you.
I'm going to give contrast to what you said there in the back of the room, which I think is amazing. My contrast is not a judgment, because I agree we shouldn't be blaming, because if we blame, we can't fix, right? So, but what I got a lot growing up was we didn't talk about it. We got a little bitty allowance, but then they told us what to do with it. Versus, what do you think? How do you think you should, like giving us that constructive, critical thinking. And I was telling her right here is that my grandma, my dad's mom, was born in 1911. So she grew up in the Depression. And I was telling her as I was thinking about it, I think a lot of that mindset just kind of like waterlogged down the hill and not even changed. And so I started as an early adult saving because I had to have enough, because there wasn't enough. But then it turned into almost like unconsciously, like just spend because now I need to feel better about myself, but then finding yourself in that rut again. And so I think it's cool to hear the differences and how you have the support, and some of us may not have, but not from judgment, and so how it sets you up as an adult if you don't pay attention. So I think that's cool.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I stepped out, so I don't know if anyone mentioned this, but I know COVID has shifted or changed a lot of people's perspective on money now. When I talk about people, and myself, because many people lost their jobs, the company shut down, and now I know that a lot of people that I talk to, it's switched to survival. Like they're thinking, okay, I gotta get this together. I gotta do this, save more, because we could go through another situation like COVID. You just never know.
Who knows what's coming? Exactly. Okay. So I thank you for participating. Does anybody on this side of the room want to share? We heard from nobody over here. My quiet side.
Yes. So we talked about the things we heard when we were growing up. And she was saying she heard all the time money was the root of all evil.
Yes.
And I heard all the time money doesn't grow on trees, but I said, actually, it does grow on trees. So
Those, you know what? I forgot about that one. Probably heard that 7 times a day. Plants grow on trees. Okay. I told you about the Italian mom. Okay. She had all those. She has all the things. Okay. So thinking about this from a place of just clarity, right? Without judgment, then we can start to shift our money mindset. And so this is where we start to think about replacing some of those negative statements or experiences with positive ones. And so we talk about adopting a positive money mindset. Thinking about, and just kind of think about this and shout it back at me if you'd like to. What do you tell yourself? Like what self-talk do you have? What self-conversation do you have when these situations arise? When you come into money, whether it's a tax return or a gift or something like that, you come into money unexpectedly. What is your dialogue? I'm like, I promise you, shoes all day. I'm like, whoop. And then I'll think, no, I should save. But my initial reaction is, let's go have some fun with this money, right? What about when you have to pay necessary expensive? What is your self-dialogue?
Am I going to have enough?
Will I have enough? Okay. What about when you find yourself spending money on sort of a splurge item?
I deserve it.
So we're hearing different things. I feel guilty. I feel like I deserved it. I feel like I worked hard for this. I deserve it. I earned it. What about when you make a financial mistake? What is your self-talk?
Go back to the drawing board and start over. Twala, don't beat yourself up.
Twala, you are so healed. I love you. Because most of us are like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other one, and this has also been learned behavior, is what did I learn from this?
Oh, good.
How can I avoid that same
Yes.
mistake again?
Another healed person in this room. All right.
It's been a process.
It is, right? And then what about, and this is a different sort of off topic, but what is your self-talk when you simply spend time with others? So we're here in this room. We're here together. Like, what is your self-talk? Do you find yourself having dialogue like, wow, that person probably has it together. I wish I had it together. You know, stuff like that.
I don't know, but this was a great quote I just heard this week.
Give it to us.
It was, comparison is the thief of joy.
I love that one.
Oh.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Comparison.
And you catch yourself comparing. Or you're like, man, they're so much farther ahead than I am. And then all of a sudden you start feeling ungrateful about what you currently have.
In the room, out the room, in the rain. Comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. I love that. I love it. So whether you're comparing for a good if we use that 3 times, it becomes real. Whether you're comparing for a good reason or a bad reason, it is the thief of joy. I love it. Okay, so let's do an exercise to start to shift our money mindset. And so these are the things that I want you to try when you walk out of this room, when you find yourself thinking, I feel guilty, or I'm comparing myself, or they've got it together and I don't.
We're not going to try them, because try is not a good word. We're going to do them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Fix me. Listen up here, Blondie. I know. Listen, every time I'm here, I tell you a different reason that I love Clifton, because I really love Clifton like 100,000,000,000%. But today, the reason I love Clifton is because he keeps my little butt in check. Okay. All right, so let's rewrite the script. So if you find yourself saying, I'm stuck where I am, what could you say instead? Instead of, you know what, I'm stuck. I can't do this. I'm stuck where I am. This is what it is for me.
Where's my lifeline?
Where is my lifeline?
This is where I get to grow from.
This is my starting point. This is where I'm going no place but up. This is a season.
Ask myself, what are the lessons, and then what are the blessings?
What are the lessons and what are the blessings? God, I love you guys.
There's a book called Seed of the Soul by a man named Gary Kukoc. It's Seed of the Soul by Dr. Gary Zukov.
Seeds of the Soul.
Seat, S-E-A-T,
Oh, seat.
of the Soul by
Okay.
Dr. Gary Zukov. Z-U-K-A-V.
Okay.
Y'all will see him on Oprah Winfrey show a lot on the Super Soul Sundays or whatever the case.
Okay.
And what Dr. Zukov says, he says, where you are projected to where you want to be is the continuum of your spiritual journey. So where you think you are versus where you want to be is the spiritual journey. And he also gives another a definition of authentic self. It's kind of long and I won't paraphrase it, so I suggest you guys read the book. But he talks about your authentic self and knowing exactly who you are in your own perspective, not in comparison to anything else or anybody else in the world, but knowing who you are from your own perspective and how you see from yourself in to the world out.
Excellent. Seat of the soul. Rewrite this for me. I will never be able to do that. I will never be able to save that much money. Simply, I will be able to. Here's how I will do that. I will save this much today. Every step is forward. I'm terrible at managing money. Have you ever heard people say this? Have you ever said this to yourself? So how could we rewrite that? You're feeling terrible at managing money.
Or I will learn to manage.
I am learning to manage my money. I can learn to manage my money. I have the tools, right? So when any other, so these were just some examples, but are there any other things that you find yourself or you think somebody might find themselves saying that are negative when it comes to money that jump into your mind? Yeah.
I don't have enough.
I don't have enough. I'm broke. Oh,
People drive me crazy with that.
big one. I'm broke.
Stop it because you're manifesting that.
Yes.
I don't know how to save. I can't save.
I don't know how to save. I can't save. We're going to talk about this when we talk about managing your money, but it's and I love that you said that, but it's the idea of thinking about how do you feel when you spend money, but how do you feel when you spend money on necessity items? When you spend money to pay for groceries and gas and lights and utilities, and the tendency is to get done and say, I'm broke. This took my whole paycheck. Instead of, how blessed am I that I can keep these lights on and feed my babies? And you know what I mean? Like, how blessed am I? So shifting that mindset. So this was my challenge to you, and this is a lot harder than it seems, but I want you to consider our discussion today. And when you find yourself, stuck in a cycle of negative self-talk, I want you to think about this exercise and rewrite that script. Be active about it. Be intentional about it. Share it with others. If you have a significant other, talk to them. I had a thought today that I suck at managing money, but you know what? Actually, I am learning to manage my money, and I took this step. Talk about it, right? Change that self-talk and watch how everything else changes. So the next step is, yes.
Can I have one quick thing to
Please.
Do you want me to get the
Yes.
Okay. I'll make it quick, but when you were talking about I spent all this money on my necessities and now I don't have enough, something that I started practicing very recently that has really shifted me is when that thought comes up, if you use contrast to your benefit and you think about, like you said, what would it be like if the lights went out, if they repoed my car, if they did all these things? And then if you use that and realize, holy crap, I actually have all this stuff, and you go into your heart for a hot minute and you're like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like gratitude will shift it. So if you use the contrast and then you say, thank you so much that I have this, and how abundant am I? Because there's people in other countries that maybe, or even in my own city, that can't do this yet. So that gratitude does shift if you use that contrast.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. Okay. Anybody online? Was there any comments online?
Yeah. So one comment was, I'm learning to manage my money. I have the tools in rewriting the script.
I have the tools.
I love eating out fancy.
Me too.
Wait.
I'm gonna give you my number.
I was like, I love eating out at fancy spots and food trucks. Someone said this is money. This is money therapy 101.
You know, it is. It's
Yeah,
psychology of money, right? But we never talk about this. Okay. Yes, Jason.
But I mean, this is funny because I'm listening, and the only thing that I'm not hearing, I'm hearing this conversation come from the perspective of if you don't have the money, and as I grew up, I never not ever had the money. Not because somebody was giving me something. I'm not sure how many of you guys know where 635 is, but from 635 in La Prada, there's a big string of apartments from 635 in La Prada to Kingsley. A friend of mine and I threw all the newspaper at every one of those apartments when I was 14 years old. And we used to do it every day and compete. We were getting cheated out of the money. But there was always an enterprising idea that I've always had. I've never been without.
I love
when you
that.
seek within, you are never without. I mean, so if you start off with a perspective that I don't have, it's not a question of you don't have the money. It's you have the resource no matter what it is. God is the source and you are the resource.
Yes.
You have whatever you want from the beginning. I've never been without.
I heard Juanita. Yes. I heard Juanita say, remember who you are and whose you are. Yes.
So as we kind of pivot to some other stuff here, right?
Yes, I'm getting ready.
I like what we're doing here because we're sharing ideas and perspectives. So the other thing that's written in The Seat of the Soul is Gary mentioned that there's no expert on the human experience.
Right.
And he sort of calls the human experience the human experiment because we do things and then we see a result and then we try something else.
Yes.
And he does it in the book much more smoothly than I'm about to say it. But he says our hope in sharing like this, sharing online and just sharing our experiences with no judgment, is that it will be helpful to others if it will help them move more gracefully through life, if it would help them think more effectively and clearly. And then I love this part. And if it helps them form like an artist, the matter of our lives. Because we're all artists. You know, we're creating a tapestry of our life right now. And the tapestry does come from abundance. It's an illusion of lack. And so I just love what's happening here and just keep it going. So thank you.
No, thank you. All right, so let's shift and move into some more practical sort of application, right? So the third step would be shifting your mindset to save money. And so there's some pretty strategic things that we do here, right? We obviously create a budget to be able to save. But the other thing that we do here is we identify our goals and we take action in identifying those goals and writing those goals down. So what I'd like to do is, did everybody pick up a goal map when they came in? And if you did not, raise your hand. Those of you online, you should have access to be able to click and access this goal map. This is a very, very simple tool. But when we think about goals, there's two of them there. When we think about goals, we think about them in terms of stages, right? So we have long-term, mid-range, short-term goals. Short-term goals would be things I want to accomplish in a year or two. Somebody give me a quick example of a short-term goal. Buy a car, take a vacation, buy a new couch, right? Mid-range goals happen in 3 to 5 years. Somebody give me an example of a mid-range goal.
For me right now, retirement.
Okay, depending on where you are in your journey, right? Education, oh, that's a great one. Maybe save for the down payment on something. Long-term goal.
Typically retirement.
Retirement, help my kids with college, buy a house, things like that, okay? So then, you know, everybody's heard this term. If you haven't, we'll talk about it very quickly, but the idea of making goals smart. So these things that aren't just like, wow, right? Like, but goals that we can that apply to us, right? And that we can accomplish. So the idea of SMART goals is to make them specific, not, I just want to have a lot of money. Okay, well, what do you want to do? Like, what is your goal? What is your specific goal? Make it measurable so that you can actively see where you are in that goal achievement timeline. This helps you achieve your goal and it helps you stay on track. Make it sure that it's achievable. Let's say that I have a goal. My goal, my lifelong goal has always been to eliminate my freckles. I'm a redhead and I never wanted freckles. That is not an achievable goal. It is never going to happen, right? So that's a silly example, but think about that. Something that you can achieve. Make it relevant to your time right now. So as we were talking about, our money personality change, our goals change as well. And then make it time bound. So I know I'm going to achieve this goal in 3 years or 5 years, because then you can track it. So what I'd like you to do is just take about 60, 70 seconds, about a minute or two, and jot down. You can use this goal map. We have extras up here if you'd like them. You can use the pad that you have. Just jot down maybe at least one goal. If you have time and you know exactly what you want to do, jot down one short-term, mid-range, and long-term goal. So think about what you'd like to accomplish. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a financial goal. It most definitely doesn't have to be a financial goal, in fact. So whatever your goals are, take a minute or two and jot those down. And again, online, you have this goal. It's actually called a goal map, and it was linked to online. That. I'm going to continue on. And like I said, if you would like extras, there's more goal achievement maps. I like these because they're very, very simple. But there's research behind how much more likely we are to achieve a goal when we write it down. So believe it or not, that's a first step. Like you took an active first step today if you haven't done it before in writing down what you'd like to achieve. And then what you do is you take that goal. So, I always use the example of saving, because it's very easy math. I always use the example of saving $1,200 for like a new living room set, right? Something like that. Because then I say, okay, well, $1,200, if you asked me, could I just give you $1,200 today? That would be a little tough, right? But if I could say, no, wait a second, I'm going to have this living room set in a year, then I could break that down and say I need to factor into my budget $100 a month, which means that I need to save approximately $25 a week. If I get paid every other week, I take about $50 out of each paycheck, then I can reach my goal, right? That makes it easier to achieve. Then I go back to my budget, I make adjustments where I need to make adjustments, and I can do that. So this is the importance of goals. And when we shift our mindset to saving, it's also thinking about what we need to save for, keeping our mind on those goals. It makes sure that we stay focused and active on what we want to achieve. So it helps us take away that comparison situation because I don't care. I mean, not that I don't care. Of course I care what your goals are, but I'm focused on my goals. So I'm less likely to look at you and say, you got it all figured out. No, I got it figured out. I have a goal and I'm working towards it. And if you ask me where I am in that goal achievement plan, I will tell you. And if I'm off track a little bit this month, that's okay. I flexed that and now I reach it in 13 months instead of 12. No problem, but I know that, okay? So that's the importance of shifting your mindset. Yes.
So one of the examples online was on a goal is, my goal is to step out on faith and start my own business. Can you, as an example, take that goal and maybe break it out into smaller, specific SMART goals?
My goal is to step out on faith and start my own business. I love that. So I would say if I was going to break that out into SMART goals, I would first say, and this is my personal opinion, well, I would first think about what my business idea is, right? Like, what do I want to do? So I would think about that. But then I would think about what exactly that needs to look like. I would map that out personally and from a business perspective. So I need this much money to run my household, period. And here's how I'm going to do that. I need this much money to do the first thing in starting my business, which maybe is to, pay for a marketing person or, whatever the case may be. And I would break it down that way. That's how I would start that. But I would sort of separate those two things and I would look at it that way. Does that help?
Yeah, and I would add to that another thing, some other steps is I will sign up for a course on starting a business that's sponsored by the Small Business Administration, either SCORE or the Small Business Development Center. Or I will join an association. I went to an event that was put on by the Women's Franchise Network. So it's a group of women. They're all franchise owners, and they collectively help each other. So I would identify groups, business associations, whether it's in your industry of trucking, catering, or whatever. And I would say I would join these organizations and say I would join these organizations by a certain date. Another example here is my goal is to create an atmosphere where the budget we use is beneficial and does not feel like torture. I think this will create balance and harmony while we reach our goal to be financially free.
Yes.
So again, and we all have ideas of these goals. I think it's good to take that model and break it down using the SMART system.
Yes, absolutely. I love the idea of educating yourself and networking and getting in with whoever, right? Like, you want to be a skier? Hang out with skiers. You want to be a wealthy person? Hang out with wealthy people. What does your network look like? Oh, you never want to be the smartest person in any room, right? And that is going to force us to walk out of our comfort zone. Sometimes it's going to force us to cartwheel outside of our comfort zone. But it's important because that's how we get better, right? All right, so the next step would be to track and manage your spending. And before we jump into the nitty-gritty of tracking and managing your spending, which not only want you to worry because we will help you with that at MMI, but I want you to think about, because this is psychology of money. We talked about this a little bit, Juanita, but what I want you to think about is, while you're doing this, the process of monitoring your spending. So everybody, if you haven't heard this, let me know. But I think, we hear this often. But like the first step in building a budget is to identify your goals, but then it's to track your spending. Where do I spend money? How much am I actually spending at Starbucks? What, stuff like that. Okay? I say it all the time. If you guys know, I've been here before. This is two things I love: coffee and shoes. Coffee and shoes. And wine, also wine. I mean, right? If you could walk in someplace and buy shoes and have a cup of coffee and a glass of wine, forget about it. We got a business plan. I want you to think about how you feel when you get paid. Before you start to track your expenses, build a budget, I want you to think about how you feel when you get paid. Do you feel like, oh, thank you, I can do all the things I've been waiting 2 weeks to do? We might need to change, right? Do you feel like, okay, I have every dollar accounted for, this is a well-oiled machine, I'm moving, I'm going? How do you feel when you pay your bills? How do you feel when you spend on yourself? Do you feel guilty? How do you feel? This is the perfect pairing over here. How do you feel when you spend on others? All right. What are your spending triggers? Did you have something to add? It depends on who and how. No, that's a great point.
Who?
That's a great point. Gratitude. Gratitude. What are your spending triggers? Okay. Do you subscribe to the idea of retail therapy? So in addition to tracking your expenses literally, I would like you to start thinking about tracking your expenses and tracking your priority spending plans emotionally as well, because that dictates how we build that budget and change that budget. Yes.
Can you speak to those who are on who don't work and have a limited budget?
Yes.
Or limited means?
Yes. So what she's saying is, can you speak to those who are on a fixed income, or, basically on a fixed income, or they're tired, or they're retired, or they're on Social Security. Right. Tired, retired, extra tired, all the tired? Yes. I think it is not so much about, it's kind of like quality versus quantity, right? It's not so much about how much you have, it's about doing what you can with what you have. And that's where the power of utilizing resources and building an active plan that you can stick to and change is powerful. And I think especially if we're living on a fixed income, or we're in a situation where it's limited, Jason said something earlier that I love. How changing your mindset on that? Like, is there something you can do to change that financial situation at all? And maybe there's not, but maybe there is. So thinking about how you might be able to add an additional stream of income. Yes. Right? Long-term, short-term, whatever. That's a whole different topic for a whole different day. And then, once you have that, I think really utilizing every resource available to help you live within your means. But a plan is critical. I think a plan is critical. Yes.
So I said there's always.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. So when you say work, spending within your means, and then looking for other ways to get. So I'm gonna say. So, I had my son when I was younger. And when I decided to go to college, a lot of people were like, well, how you gonna go to college when you got a kid? Well, I went to Oklahoma State, and I actually took my son with me, right? So I had my friends who were there, were out partying and having fun. I'm going to parent-teacher conferences as a freshman, right? So people asked me, after I got there, some other women who had came, but they left their kid at home, said, how did you do it? Because, we're in college. And so I said, you have to use the resources that are available. So I learned that campus housing, that I could say, it was called married housing, and I wasn't married, obviously, but so I lived over there. But then I also learned that I could get energy assistance for married housing. Also learned I could get rental assistance for married housing. Then I learned I could get, back then it was called AFDC, it's called TANF. And so I got, had those benefits. So I had an insurance card for my son. So people were like, how you do it? I'm like, there's resources available that are around you. And just like even today, there are nonprofits that provide resources that can assist you with whatever you need, so you don't have to spend your own money for those things, and just take advantage of those other programs and things that are out there. There are people who go to like food banks, if they need to go to a food bank, that can save you some money where you have extra money to pay a bill or to do what you want or whatever.
What's your name? What's your first name?
Elvira.
I love what you said, Elvira, because I think oftentimes it is a question of, there is help. There are resources. There just are. But it's a question of, how do I find them? How do I find the right resources? And the Empower series. So this right here, like, this is so much more than you just hanging out and having coffee on a Saturday morning, right? This is an opportunity to not only network with others, but to utilize resources that you had no idea even existed. Resources that can help you achieve goals that you might have not even thought you wanted to achieve, right? So the power of talking to other people, the power of networking, the power of attending things like the Empower series, reaching out and saying, hey, Clifton, I'm looking for something. He will find you a resource or connect you. We will find you a resource or connect you. So please don't ever walk away thinking, I just can't. There are resources. Yes.
I mean, this is funny. Because I forget her name. She's got the hat on right here. I'm looking at Miss Juanita. So, funny story. A lady walked into my business and we had some vendors and they were selling hats, like almost like a hat like you have on. And she asked the vendor how much for the hat. Well, the customer thought the vendor wanted a little bit too much for the hat. Okay. So of course she didn't buy it. And so she said, I'm going to start making my own hats. I'm going to find a resource to make my own hats. So she said, I wonder where I could get a hat wholesale. And I said, oh, there's a Resistar warehouse in Garland. Okay. A couple other things. Now, she is one of the biggest and most successful hat designers in the country. That was 3 years ago. That was 3 years ago. She's one of the, and you can see her. It's called Chapeau Trends. She is killing it in cigar lounge hats. All because somebody wanted to charge her a little bit too much for a hat. I'd say this to everybody. If you think you don't have the whatever resources you want, they are within you.
Yep.
Now, like Sister said, Elvira said, there are people that will help you and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to say this. Seek within, you will never be without.
Love it. Love you. Okay. So, listen, again, whole different topic for a whole different day, but building a budget is something that is actionable steps and you don't have to do it alone. So I want you to take 60 seconds, if you even need 60 seconds. Those of you online, I want you to scan this QR code. This is going to take you to our debt and budget. It should take you to our online counseling intake, but I just want you to save it, okay? Because those of you that do not have a budget or a priority spending plan, or even those of you who do, but you're thinking, oh no, I don't know what resources are out there, whatever, take an hour. It will be the best hour you've spent. Bring your significant other, do it together, do an online or over the phone budgeting session. It is free. So again, this is a different topic for a different day, building this budget, but it's part of shifting your money mindset, and you do not have to go it alone. We will help you do it, okay? You will walk out of that session with a budget. So take a moment, scan that, save it, whatever. You also, though, when you came in, picked up a template. Those of you online have a link to a budget template. It's a great template. I love it because it lets you do sort of actual and adjusted, so you can make those adjustments throughout the month so you don't get to the end of the month thinking, uh-oh. Okay?
Is your PowerPoint also?
Yes, the PowerPoint, yes. I think Clifton linked to that.
Everything you have is a link underneath the video on YouTube.
Okay. Perfect.
And it will be there for you to go back and pull up afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, did everybody get it? Yep. All right. So the final step in mastering your money mindset is adopting positive money habits. There's so many things we can do here. So the practical ones, let's talk about those. Monitoring your credit. Reviewing your credit report, knowing your credit score. I got a tool. We're going to do an exercise. It's awesome. Managing your debt, developing a debt reduction plan. And I already told you, I need you to not freak out. If you have debt, we got you. Call us at Money Management International. Look at what a debt management plan looks like. See if we can help you out, okay? And then manage your financial outlook. Know your net worth. Calculate your net worth every year at least. And then increase your financial wellness. And there are so many ways to do that. The Empower series every single month is not only going to help you increase your financial wellness, but it's going to help you increase your whole wellness. And when you feel better, you're able to achieve those goals and handle those obstacles and things like that. Read books, listen to podcasts, talk to experts, do everything that you can do, okay? All right, so check this out. I love this. Get your phones. I have new friends at FICO. You guys know FICO, the credit scoring company? No, let me tell you. I have new friends there, and I am 100% in love with them. So they've got this fantastic program called Score a Better Future. We recently started partnering with them for this, but you know that I learned that FICO now has a free version of their credit score sort of monitoring service. And I was listening to this and I was like, wait, hold up, what? And he said, no, it's brand new. And I did it. It took me less than 2 minutes. You got to put your social security number in there, obviously. But this is the QR code. So take a minute and do it. Take 60 seconds, 120 seconds. Scan this QR code. It's going to take you to the free FICO score monitoring tool. You put in your information. It is going to give you your official FICO score free. So take a minute and do that. You guys know that in the past, if you wanted your official FICO score, you had to pay for it. It was like $12.99 or whatever. You could get, like they have partners, like your credit card statements and stuff will put a score on there. But this is your official score. Anybody want to take a guess at what the percentage of lenders that use the FICO score is? Because there are different scoring models.
100%, but it's
pretty darn close.
Pretty close.
90% of lenders use the FICO score. So this is what you want to know, okay? So here's an excellent tool. Go ahead and scan it. I'll come around and make sure that everybody is in and feeling good. It's going to ask you to create a profile. Yep, this is all legit. It's going to ask you to create, and I would never give you something that I didn't do myself and trust. But it's going to ask you to create a profile, because what it's also going to do is send you, it's going to send you little monitoring tips and stuff like that, but it's free.
Because they're asking for your social security number, right?
Yes.
And so if someone knows your social security number and goes in here, they have to make sure that it's secure.
Yes.
That's why they're asking you to create your profile.
Of course. Yes. And the reason it's asking you for your social security number is because it's your credit report. Yes.
However, if you do feel uncomfortable, you do not have to do it.
Oh, no. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. But if you want to, it'll give you your credit score. Great question. So there are 3 credit reporting agencies, and basically your FICO score is, I'm positively sure, 99.9%, that it is a culmination of those. So this is your official FICO score. Yes.
And one thing to note, since you brought that up, is that you can go to a different website, annualcreditreport.com.
Yes.
That's where you get the actual credit report.
Yep.
And your credit report does not have a FICO score.
Right.
So this is a different website.
So your score is a result of the information on your credit report. And when you go to annualcreditreport.com, you'll get the option to look at your Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion credit report, right? Your credit score, though, is a 3-digit number that's made, it basically is a score based on the activity on those credit reports. So it's a culmination of all the activity out there, but it's your official score. There are different versions of the FICO score. You know, this is, again, a different topic for a different day. But this is a baseline for you, and this is what lenders are looking at. So I love sharing this because, like I said, it was never free before. It's just become free. It's awesome. I was a little skeptical. But like I said, we started partnering with these folks. So I was like, okay, I trust you. And I went and did it, and I had my score in less than 2 minutes. I was like, what? And I've been getting updates, right? So it's wonderful. So very quickly, and again, different topic for a different day, but I wanted to talk quickly about the importance of managing your credit. And if you're feeling like I can't manage my credit, self-talk, squash that. Now I have the information that I need to be able to manage my credit. Your credit score is made up of 5 components, each weighted differently. And now that you know, you can take action to manage those to increase your credit score. It's pretty easy. 35% is, are you making regular payments on time every single month without exception? 30% is, are you spending less than you can? So if you have a credit limit of $1,000, are you not charging $1,000? Are you living within your means? 15% is, how long has your credit been active? Have you been successfully managing your credit for a long time? 10% is how much new credit you're looking for. And I'm not trying to say don't look for credit to be competitive when you're trying to buy stuff like a car, but don't run all around Dallas too, like car borrow 10 bucks, car borrow 10 bucks. And then the types of credit in use. So you want to make sure that you are effectively managing different types of credit. Okay. Was everybody able to get into my FICO? Awesome. Okay.
I think to get the other two, that's the upgrade. I think I got one, which was Equifax.
Your FICO Equifax?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think if you want the other two,
then you got to pay.
I think you got to upgrade.
Don't pay.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, no, don't pay. Don't pay. What our partner there was telling me is that it was never free before. God bless you. But what they found was they did a trial and made it free for a period of time, and people were like, "No, this is important information," and they were like, "No, I want to monitor." You know what I mean? So now it's free. Yeah, which is awesome because it never was before. When we think about managing your debt, I have another tool for you. Again, I talked a little bit about this, but the Empower series is all about hope and inspiration. So I am not letting you walk out of this room without some hope and inspiration. I promise you right now. Debt is a big deal. People get very overwhelmed and very stressed out about it. Right now, consumer debt is crazy on the rise. We're seeing this everywhere we look. At MMI, the amount of consumer debt is crazy. It's all we're talking about, right? And people on debt management plans and trying to manage it because of inflation, because of the price of a gallon of milk or whatever. If you have debt and you're feeling overwhelmed, you can utilize strategies like the snowball or avalanche method to go it alone. But if you want help, please reach out to us. This is a QR code that's going to take you to our debt management sort of comparison tool. But this on the screen and that we're seeing online will give you an idea of how much money you can save on a debt management plan. So I just want to plant that seed, because if you came in here thinking like, this is great, I'm going to learn about the psychology of money and I'm still going to go home with this crushing debt, there are trusted resources that can help you. I don't want you to feel like there aren't. And then we talk about managing your financial outlook. So in the interest of time, I think we have about 3 minutes left, and I don't want to go over time. But everybody picked up a net worth worksheet. Those of you online, you can link to this net worth worksheet. This is essentially a comparison of what you own versus what you owe. And this is something that we don't often look at, but we should at least once a year, and make sure that that number is trending in a positive direction. This is going to help us stay away from sort of the, I look wealthy, I look affluent, but I'm drowning in debt, right? Make sure that your net worth is trending upward. And then increase your financial wellness. So what I've got on the screen for you is a QR code that's going to take you to our online learning portal. This is free for you through Money Management International. You can register, you can go online, you can watch videos, you can listen to podcasts, you can read articles, you can connect with our counselors, you can do all this in one trusted place, okay? So I wanted to share that with you. But then what I wanted to do is I wanted to open it up, because this is all about discussion today, and I wanted for you to share with each other some of the resources that are helping you change your financial mindset. So like I said earlier, the book that I've been reading is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Herschel. Love it, because it's easy, it's simple, it's language that isn't confusing me. I can read it before I go to sleep, it's fine. I like it. So it's a whole different bunch of things, right? Who is doing something that is helping them change their financial mindset, and give it to us so that we can share? Yes. Hope and inspiration in progress right now, Clifton.
Okay, so I want to share something that the title of the book and what the book talks about isn't on by words money, but it makes a difference to money and everything in your life. It's called Worthy by Jamie Kern Lima, I believe.
Okay.
And I'll give you one little snippet that has already touched my life in all areas, including money, is the difference between self-confidence and self-worth. This changed my whole life. She said you can have all the self-confidence on the outside that you want, because that is a reflection of what you think you can do externally. Self-worth is your inner foundation. You can have all the self-confidence in the world, but if you don't have the self-worth to keep it and to keep it going, you're going to tank. It's going to go up and down. It's volatile. So if you have the inner self-worth to believe that you can get where you want to go, money or otherwise, this book, I'm telling you, was huge and is huge for me. So I wanted to share that.
Worth.
Worthy.
Worthy.
Worthy. By
Worthy.
Jamie Kern Lima.
Okay. So what I would like to do is I'm trying to write these down and then we can put them online. Any other resource that people are utilizing that they would like to share that's helping them? Yes, ma'am.
The church I'm currently attending is offering Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. So I just recently enrolled and I'll be starting that on Tuesday morning. It's called Financial Peace. But it's been
Financial
offered
Peace
through-
University. Yep. All right. So we're getting ready to wrap it up. Those of you online, if you're utilizing resources that are helping you, please send them in. We're going to compile a list and send it back out to you. So I appreciate your time today in mastering your money mindset. I think we had fantastic discussion, and I'm ready to walk out of here feeling different. So that's it. This is my disclaimer. I am absolutely not an attorney. Duh. So Clifton, you want to come on up here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk about connection to resources.
So listen, if you want to, listen, I do not have all the answers clearly to all the things, but I can point you in the right direction. So if you'd like to reach out to me directly, please feel free to do that. My name is Tara Alderete. My email is very simple. It's tara.alderete@moneymanagement.org. Clifton can put you in touch. You can reach out to us at Money Management International at moneymanagement.org. This is going to take you to our main website. You saved all the information and you have it online and in your packet to get to our counselors. And you can also call us at 866-889-9347 to schedule an initial session, and we will point you in the right direction. So this is how you stay in touch with us, okay? Yes, I know. I rattle it off like it's pie or something, right? ALDERETE.
I was going to ask you to say it again because people are asking questions about Michael.
Yeah.
So if they have questions about that, make sure they know how to email you.
Yeah. And like I said, if I know it, I'll send it right back to you. Otherwise, I will send you a resource. At moneymanagement.org. Yep.
Okay, give it up.
Thanks, you guys. No, you're welcome.
So was that not great? Well, it's not over. It's not over. So this is not the end. This is just the beginning. So if you're online, we are going to stop the recording online, but stay connected with us. So you can stay connected with us by subscribing to the YouTube channel. We definitely need to get more people subscribed. So share this with other people. You can email thrive@empowerseries to stay connected. If you have questions that you didn't get answered, you have other questions outside of this topic, definitely stay connected with us. We are doing next month a workshop on finding scholarships for college or advanced education. Our location for the people here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is going to be at the African American Museum, right in the Fair Park area. So that's going to be for the rest of this year on the third Saturday of every month. So please let people know about that. The other thing I want you to do is, the Empower Series is about, and this was mentioned, we just experienced this. The Empower Series wants to deliver 4 things every program. We want to give you hope that whatever you're dreaming about, whatever's in your mind is real, and you can manifest that. So give you hope that you can achieve your goals. We want to inspire you to take action, because having a goal and then making a bologna sandwich and laying on the couch is not going to work, right? You got to take some action, right? We definitely want to give you education. Education is everywhere. It's not just in school. It's in workshops like this. It's in just communicating your ideas to other people and learning from everyone. So education is important, but the most important thing is connecting to resources. And Jason, you mentioned that the Empower Series believe that the resources we need to take that next step is within reach. There are resources within us. We are a resource to other people, but then there's resources outside, because like I said, nothing of significance has ever been done alone. You can only be blessed through other people. You guys are the Empower Series. You coming, you sharing it with somebody else. So hope, inspiration, education, and connection to resources. This is not the end. Thank you for tuning in. Stay connected with us. Until we meet again, be empowered and inspired to thrive. And I'll see you next week or next month. Okay. But for us here Are we still on?